Every winter we do the same thing. We downsize, we crawl a jig, we drag a Ned, we slow roll this or that. But bass don't stop eating big meals. So a few years ago, I started doing something that I haven't seen anybody else do, and that's dragging a bigger soft plastic swim bait on the bottom like a jig. I've got a very specific way that I rig this, and what it does, it allows the bait to have a nose down, tail up orientation as you drag it, and it looks like a big bait fish, like a big gizzard shad feeding on the bottom. And bass can not resist it. In this video, I'm going to show you some baits that I like to use, the head, which is key to the retrieve that I like to use, rod, reel, and line setup, and the retrieve itself that makes this so deadly. Let's jump in and talk about the key components that make this retrieve work. Let's talk about the baits first. This is the first key component. And there's a couple of different baits that I like to use. You know, this is the, I think this is the 6-inch. These are the old BassGeek that I like to use. And you'll remember, you're not going to use a hollow belly. It has to be the hollow body all the way through. You can literally blow in that hole right there and blow it up like a balloon if you had strong enough lungs. That's why the BassGeek works real well. Next up is the Shadowlicious. This is one of my favorites to use when it's dead sleep calm and, you know, the water is super ultra clear. And I love these because they're so soft. They work so well. And this is like I said, my favorite color. They make them in 4 or 5 different colors, but this is the Shadowlicious from Strike King in Ghost Shad. Now, I do want to mention another, and it's probably one of my go-tos, and that is True Bass. I'll put a link down in the description to all the gear in this video. And by the way, like we always say, the best way to support the channel, to support me and Mike and BassGeek, is to literally bookmark that Tackle Warehouse link down in the description. Or if you're using your mobile device, go ahead and scan that code right here and bookmark it on your phone or your tablet, whatever device you're using. And anytime you go out to buy baits, just use that link and then go to anywhere you want on the website. As long as you just click on that link, you can go anywhere else, and it actually helps us a ton. Doesn't cost you a single red penny more. Now, back to the baits. So I didn't bring some of the True Bass. And I really like those. They're a little longer. They got a little softer tail on them. So if you want more action or less action, sometimes a little less action in the cold water is the deal. Now, you can also go a little bit smaller. So this is the BassGeek in 5-inch. And I think this is just called live bait. Good looking little color right here. But you can kind of see the size difference there. But again, you'll notice all of those are complete hollow bodies from tail to nose tip. They are hollow. Next up, the key to this is that you want to use, and this is a little heavier, this is a 3/4, and he may make it in other sizes. I really don't remember. 3/4 is just kind of my go-to because of the Highlands reservoirs I fish. This is called the Slugger Head, and it's actually made to insert. So these have been around forever and a day. Strike King used to make some. I don't know if they still do. Like I said, I'll put links to both if so. But this is the key, and the key is, of course, the round nose tip and the angle of the eye coming out of the weight. So those are the two components. We're going to rig up one of the 6-inch BassGeeks that we've got here. Now, I'll tell you, one of the things that I'll do is I will lay this bait out to where I know where the hook is going to come out and where the eyelet is going to come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke a hole, and I'm just going to cut that bait just long enough for the head to fit down in. Now here's the next thing. Hey guys, make sure you check out Bait Fuel. They've got some new gel that I have on the way. I cannot wait to try that. I've become a big fan of the Bait Fuel. And anytime you use it, you know, it's, I think they're saying is you want to supercharge it with bait fuel. So we're going to supercharge it and we're going to lube it too. So we're going to put a little bit on there, rub it in. And something else I do is I'm going to put a little bit on and around that hole. And what I'm going to do is we're just going to use this to slide that up in there. And it slides up in there so much easier if you have some bait fuel on here. Now, next up, what you're going to do is you have to take your fingers and you're going to poke the eyelet through and go ahead and get that shoved down. Get it in the right area. Push that hook down just a little bit so you get it through. And there you have it. You're ready to go. So last but not least, when it comes to rigging, what we're going to do is we're just going to tie a nice little San Diego jam knot. So we're just going to spin it around about 5 times. We're going to go through that bottom loop. Then we're going to go through that top loop and slide it down. Get your favorite scissors out. Cut your tag in. And you are ready to go jig a swim bait. But first, let's talk about rod, reel, and line. So this is the combo that I'm going to use. This is actually the same exact combo that I used for my big soft plastics, my big soft plastic swim baits during the summer when I'm ledge fishing. So my 5 and 6, even my 7 inchers. So this is a TFO option. It's 7'3", heavy, fast action. I've got that coupled with a Lew's BB1 Pro. This is the old school. I'll put links in there for the new one, which will work just fine. And as far as line goes, this is K9's Pro 100. So 100% fluorocarbon. If you want to try out their co-poly, it's got a little more stretch. It's called Fluoro. But the Pro 100 is 100% fluorocarbon. This is, and I go back and forth. When I'm going to be jigging, I'll definitely use 17-pound test. Now, I will tell you, we're not going to be jigging this around like heavy cover because it is an exposed hook. And I'll show you exactly what areas we're going to target in just a minute. So that's why I like to use 17-pound test. And by the way, I've got a 10% off discount code right here for K9 line. You need to go check out that new silk braid. I tell everybody all the time, their braid, best casting braid on the market, hands down, far and away. I dare you to prove me wrong. So there's a ton of places that we're going to fish this, but this time of year, today the water temps are in the low 50s. For where I'm at, you might as well kind of be in winter mode. And so the areas that I'm going to target, it's going to be those first thirds of the creeks to the mouth of the creeks to some main lake stuff. And we're going to concentrate on points and humps, and especially a lot of areas that have, you know, some gravel, or like over my shoulder here, combination of a little bit of gravel and mud and chunk rocks. And those are going to be the areas that I'm going to focus on with this little swim bait right here. Now, if we can find some sparse wood that's laying down on them too, that's only going to help. Now, got to be careful. We don't want brush piles because we're not swimming this, we're jigging this. And we're going to fish it just like you would a jig in the winter time, which means we're going to drag it 99% of the time. Now, speaking of the retrieve, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a good long cast to a place. We're going to drag it. Now, boat positioning, I would probably work out and away until I found out at least a 45-degree angle, until I found out exactly how deep those bass are. When you're first starting out and you get out there and you're not sure if they're 5 foot, 10 foot, a good 45-degree work and staying back off of them so that you're working down. Like, we're in really pretty clear water right now, and most everything we've seen has been 20 to 25 foot. We've seen a few smaller fish up above that in that 10 foot area, but your better bass have been in that 20 to 25 foot mark. So we want to stay off enough to make sure that we're keeping this on the bottom as we come through that deeper levels of the water column. When we get to the retrieve, like I said, we're really going to just throw it out there, let it sink to the bottom, and we're going to lift up until we feel the weight of the bait, and we're just going to start moving it. We're going to let it pop across any sort of that rock out there, and as it does that, it's just going to look like a gizzard shad down there on the bottom feeding. We're going to stop it every once in a while. We're just going to let it sit there, and we may even shake the slack in the line just to get it to kind of go back and forth. And once in a while, we're just going to lift it up just a little bit, just so you can feel it kind of swim up a little bit and fall right back down to the bottom. And then we're going to start dragging. That's the retrieve we're going to go with. Sometimes that subtle hop off the bottom, those bass, it just comes up in their face and they can't stand it. So they go ahead and react and swallow it. As I always say with a swim bait, don't swing until you feel the weight of the fish. Side set, keep the rod tip down, either at water level or in the water itself. Keep that bass from coming up and jumping, because you've got a very good chance of catching a good sized bass doing this right here. Net, boat hop, or lip. But if it's going to take you a minute and he's green, boat hop that bass, get him in here. Don't let him wrench this out of his mouth. Even in cold water, they can still be a little feisty, especially those smallmouth that we've been fishing for today. Get out there and try this, geeks. I know you've seen some videos that we've done talking about bigger swim baits in the wintertime, and if you haven't, make sure you go check out this video right here. Otherwise, questions and comments in the comments section below. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell, be part of the 100% Watch Squad. Hey, 2026, we need you geeks. It's going to be a big year for us, and as always, you geeks rock.